Hello everyone. Today let's solve the problem web of lies. So I'll just come here. You can just completely read this question. They have clearly mentioned the input and output. They have clearly mentioned the problem statement as well as input and output along with the examples. So in the example, they have clearly mentioned the input and the desired output that we need to get. So also in the note, they have clearly mentioned this one. You can go through these things. I'll just summarize the problem so that it will be very easy to understand and implement and also after that let's discuss the approach and implement the solution. So I'll just come here, just give me a second. So what the question says, we have n nobles each with a unique power from 1 to n. We have n nobles each with a unique power from 1 to n. So you have to just remember we are having the n nobles each with the unique power 1 to n. We also have m initial friendship between them and we also have m initial friendship with between them. A noble is considered vulnerable. This one, n noble is considered vulnerable either if it meets two criteria. One is a noble meets vulnerable if the noble has at least one friend, this one, and also all of their friends have high power than the noble. All of the friends have high power than the noble. High power, I am just indicating this one with the greater. So higher power than noble. These two things. What is our main goal? I hope till here this is clear. So what we need to determine, we need to mainly handle three type of queries. One thing is we need to add a friendship. That is nothing but I'll just give add. We need to add the friendship. Also we need to remove the friendship. The second one is we need to remove the friendship. Also the third one, after adding, first one is adding a friendship, second one is removing a friendship, third one is determining how many noble remain after a process where all the vulnerable nobles are removed simultaneously. So in simple terms, we need to determine how many nobles will remain after a process, right? So determine how many nobles will remain in the process. I'll just give remain in the process. Remain in process, let me give. So I hope this is clear. This is what we have to determine. I hope the problem is clear. So I'll just delete this one. Let's discuss the approach step by step, right? Initially, as usual, we'll be going with the input reading. So this one you'll get to know while we write the problem. So this is mostly same for most of the problem. First step is always input reading. We'll be going with the JavaScript or the Node.js, right? So this is graph problem mainly. So first step is we'll go with the input reading. Second thing is initialization. Nothing but we are creating the data structure to track the friendship. Also, we'll be making use of array to track how many friends each noble has that are of higher power. So initialization, I'll just tell this one again. We will create the data structure to track the friendship. That is first thing. This will be, I hope this is clear. Second thing is we are using an array to track how many friends each noble has that are of higher power. So we are just making use of the array to track how many friends each noble has that are of high power, right? So that is second thing. You can just remember for now, this is the initialization step. So you'll get to know this one while we write the code crystal clearly. So third one is we have to process initial friendships. So in the question, I had clearly mentioned, right? Add, remove, and we have to finally determine the how many nobles, right? So these three things. A third step is we have to process initial friendship. Nothing but we have to update the friendship data and track the number of higher power friends of each noble. Nothing but here we are tracking the number of higher power friends for each noble. Tracking higher power friends for each noble. So this will be the third step. After tracking the higher power friends for the each noble, then we will finally handle the queries. So three queries we have to handle. One is add query, remove friendship, and also we have to calculate the remaining nobles. That's what we'll be doing, right? So 3 queries. So we have to handle 3 queries. That's what we'll be doing in the fourth step. Final step, fifth step is nothing but we will be outputting the result. Nothing but as we are making use of the JavaScript, we will make use of the console log to print the output. That's what we are doing. Nothing but output. So this is the approach that we are going with this particular problem. So let me delete this one and let's start writing the code so that we will understand this one better. So as usual, just give me a second. Initially, we will import the file system module for reading the input. As always, I'll just give fs equals a require of fs. So this is one thing. Let input equals fs dot read file sync of initially we'll set this one to 0. Also we'll set the encode into UTF-8. So that's what we'll be doing. Next, after setting the UTF-8, this one we have to remove the byte spaces from the input, right? So that one, for that one I'll just be making use of the prem. Also we need and making use of split because we have to read the individual lines of the input. So I'll be making use of the regular expression over here. Slash n slash r. So let me give here as slash. This is fine. So next we'll initialize the counter to pass the input. Nothing but I'll just initialize the count to 0. First input line. This is nothing but the first input line. We have to read the individual lines, right? Individual line of input, line by line. So I'll initialize the count to 0. Next, let's make use of the helper function. So let's make use of the helper function to read basically. So you can just remember we are making use of the helper function to read. So I'll just make use of read num. So I'll just give and I'll not make use of camel case. Let me give a read num over here. Let's give, we have to increment the lines, right? So we have to read every individual line, each individual line. So I'll increment the count. After incrementing the count, to distinguish between the two different numbers in the same line, I'll just be making use of space by making use of split. Also, let's make use of map, and we have to read this one. For reading this one, all the input, so I'll just give plus a. So this is fine. Next step is we have to read the number of nobles, nothing but n. While reading the, while explaining the question I have said. So we have to read the nobles n and also number of friendship. We are reading number of nobles n and number of friendships m. So here you can individually give. I'll just make use of the destructuring operator. This will be easy. So I'll just give read num. So this is one thing. After reading the number of nobles and number of friendships, what we will do? We will make use of the array of sets to track the friendship. So I can just give friends equals, this has to be, I have to create the array, right? Array of size n plus 1 I'll create. Also, initially, let's fill this array with 0 and let's map this one. Let me give new set. We have to distinguish, we're declaring the array of sets to track the friendships, right? So that's the reason I'm making use of set. So here, this is fine. Next, we have to declare the array to count the friends with the higher power for each noble. That's what I explained while explaining the approach. So I'll just give, let me make use of higher friend count here, the variable name. So I'll just give new uint, let's consider 32 bit. So for the 32 bit, I'll just give uint 32 array. So here, this will be n plus 1. This is fair. Next step is to count for the number of safe novels. Nothing but we are initializing the safe count to 0. I'll just give in simple terms safe count. I'll just initialize this one to 0. This is one thing. After this, a novel is safe only if they have no friends with higher power. So while explaining the question, we discussed this one. Basically, a novel is only safe when they have no friends with higher power, right? For this, I'll just make the function. I'll just give is safe. Within this one, I'll just take the parameter u. Let me give this one return higher friend count of u. This is equal to 0. This is fine. So after this, we have to process the initial friendships. So for initial friendships, nothing but after the initialization, we are going with the iteration, right? In simple term, starting with 0, and let's increment the I. This is fine. Next, let's read the friendship pair. You can individually read the friendship pair. So I'll just make use of the destructuring operator. So let me give read num. This is fine. After reading the friendship pair, we will increase the higher friend count for the lower power novel. Yeah. For this, we have to go with certain condition, right? For this one, u has to be less than b. So I'll just make use of this condition. If the criteria matches, then we are incrementing the higher friend count of u. Higher friend count, we will increment this one. So this is fair. Else, what we will do? We will decrement, we will increment higher friend count of v, right? So we can do that. I'll just give v. Let's increment this one. So next, let's add the friendship. Nothing but this is fine. We'll just make use of add of friend u add of v. Same thing. Friends here, this will be v instead of u, and add of u instead of v. I hope this is clear. After this step, we will initialize the count of safe novels. So again, let's go with the iteration. We will iterate with I equals 1. Let me give I less than or equal to n. Then I'll just increment the I. If is safe of I, this one, then we have to increment the safe count, right? So that's what we'll be doing here. So after this one, let's read the number of queries. Let's start reading the number of queries, and we have to distinguish between 3 things. 3 queries, right? So handling 3 queries as I have explained in the question. So how can we read the number of queries? We'll be making use of read num. I'll just take some random variable name. I'll just name this q. I'll just give read num from 0. So within the array, let's start with 0 initially. So let's start processing the queries. For that, I'll just make use of, after the initialization, we'll again go with the iteration. Here, this will be 0. I less than q. Let's increment the I. So after this, we have to read the type of the query and the involved novels. So for this, I'll not be making use of the individual variable name and assigning the read num. Instead of, I'll just make use of the destructuring operator. So I'll just give type u and v, this one. Let me set this one to read num. So destructuring operator helps a lot actually, these cases. So we are adding the friendship query. So I can just give if type equals 1, then what we'll do? We have to add the friendship query. First one is adding the friendship, right? Add friendship, remain function, and remove friendship. Second one, and the third one is we have to count the novels after adding and removing the friendship. So this one, if type equals 1, then what we have to do? We have to skip if the friendship already exists, right? For that one, we have to write the condition. So I'll just give here is, I hope this works, is friends of you, this one has, just make use of, we are making use of set, right? So if you are making use of the set, you need to know has add these things, right? Please do go through this one set if you don't know. Along with the set, also go through map as well, hash set and hash map. So has v, then I'll just make use of continue. This one we are skipping if the friendship already exists. Then we will update the safe count if novels are affected. So for this, this will be if condition. So again, we'll be making use of is safe of you. This is simple. They are decrementing, right? Safe count. Then same thing again, is safe. This time it will be v. Again, we are decrementing the safe count. This is fine. Then we have to add the friendship. So we are handling the queries while explaining this one approach. So I had said add friendship, remove friendship, and count the novels after adding the friendship and removing the friendship. These three things we have to keep in mind. So here we are adding the friendship. So for adding, I'll just make use of friend view dot add. So this will be v and friends v dot add here, or v and u. This is fine. Next, let's update the higher friend count. How can we update the higher friend count? This would be if u less than v, then higher friendship count, this one, we'll just increment this one, right? Else, what we will increment? So higher friend count of, this has to be higher friend count of this one, I think, u. I missed this one. This one has to be here, v. Else, let's increment this one. This is fine. Next, recheck the we will be rechecking for the safety status. Again, I'll just go with the if is safe of you. So again, I'll do this one. I should have copied this one. I had already done this one, right? Safe count, we will increment the safe count. Again, if of safe b, then we'll go with safe count, incrementing the safe count. This time, yeah, u and b, right? This is correct. So next, else, this was for the first query. Means type equals 1, we check for. We had checked till here. So now let's check for if type equals, if type equals 2. We'll just make use of else if type, if this is equal to 2, then what we will do, this is nothing but the type 2 is nothing but type 1 is we are adding the friendship. Type 2 is nothing but we are removing the friendship. So how can we write this one? In this case, if not of friends or if friends equals undefined, then in both ways we can write. I'll just make use of if not of friends of you as v. If it is already present, so let's give continue. We'll skip this one and continue for the next one, right? So that's why we'll be making use of continue. If you don't know continue and break, please do go through continue and break as well. So it will be very handy. So next, we have skipped the if already friendship. We have skipped if friendship doesn't exist. So next we have to update the safe count if novels are affected, similar to the first one. So while doing the while solving the add friendship, also we had done the same thing. Again, here if is safe of you, Then what we will do, safe count, let's increment this one. Sorry, we have to decrement this one, right? Removing the friendship. So if is safe of V, will go with the safe count. Let's decrement this one. Next, let's remove the friendship. Let's make use of delete. Please do go through has, add, delete. These things comes under the set. If you don't know set and map, I'm speaking of hash set and hash map. If you don't know this one, please do go through it. This is very easy to understand. If you once you know about set and map completely, it will be very easy to solve the problem. So I'll just give friends you. Let's make use of the delete to remove the friends. So it will be V again. Friends of, this time it will be V. What we'll be deleting? Delete you. So I hope this is clear. Next, let's update the higher friend count as usual. Again, similar to the adding friendship. Here, let me give if you less than B, higher friend count of you. Let's increment this, decrement this one, remove friendship, right? Again, same thing. Else, we have already written if, no need of if. So else, higher friend count, we will decrement this one. So I hope this is clear. Next, we will recheck the safety status. So how can we recheck this safety status? Again, if, so let me write is safe of you, this one. Let's increment the safe count, not decrement. Let's increment the safe count. Again, same thing. If is safe of V this time, again, let's increment the safe count. So just give me a second. So yeah, this is it. Next, let's check for the type 3. So we can just go with else if these two criteria doesn't meet, then else if type equals 3, we can directly print this one, right? So if these two criteria doesn't meet, then we'll just for printing, I'll just make use of console log of what we have to print, safe count. So we don't have to write again these things. This one will be type 3 and we'll just these two things after adding. We are handling adding queries, removing the friendship. I mean adding friendship, removing the friendship, as well as counting the novels after adding or removing these three things, right? Third one, if type equals 3, then we are directly printing console log of safe count. So I hope this works. Let me come here. This is it. Let me copy this input. We have to get the output 2 and 1. Let's see. So reference error, B is not defined. Line number 18. So let's check. Somewhere I have done wrong here. U and R I have given. So this has to be B. Sorry. Cannot read properties of undefined add. So friends of you dot add. Here line number 20. So what is mistake here? Just give me a second. So again here, what I've done here is, this has to be I less than M, right? Not N. So let me run this one again. This is same thing this is giving, right? Add, we are just adding V and we are just adding U. So what error this is giving? Cannot read properties of undefined. So we have not defined this one. And so few. So here we are not able to add this one. This is reading add, right? So why we are not able to add? Here I have initialized an array n equals 1 I have given. It has to be n plus 1. So this is the reason. Let me run this one. Yeah, now we are getting the correct output. So we are getting 2 and 1, right? So let's check with this input. We have to get the output 1. So let me give here. Let me run this one. So now we are getting the output 1, right? So this is working correctly. The code is working correctly. Let me come here. Just give me a second. So yeah, I'll just come here and submit the code. So yeah, this one, network topology web of lies. Let me make use of, and let me hit the submit. So let's wait for some time. I hope this works. So yeah, we can clearly see here, the code got accepted. So this works absolutely fine. The code works absolutely fine. So what mistake I did was here in the initialization of the array, instead of n+1, I had given, this was a typo basically, equals, and also one more mistake somewhere I did. This one, this had to be m basically, not n. So this was the two mistakes. So now the code works absolutely fine. So this is it. Thanks for watching, guys.